Hello, my friend. On today's episode, I have a very special guest on the podcast for the first time. It's Sherman Merricks. He's the co-owner of Lasso Framework, lassoframework.com. And they specialize in marketing ads and sales training for gym owners. And in this podcast, Sherman and I talk about all the ABCs of paid advertising for gyms. We talk about how to know when it's time to start running paid ads, once you're running paid ads, what to expect, what metrics to track. So if you are currently running paid ads or you're thinking about, finding an agency or doubling down to start running paid ads, this is a great episode for you to either improve what you're currently doing or start something brand new to generate leads in your gym. So keep on listening, my friend. Hello, fitness business nerds. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Business for Unicorns podcast. I'm very excited because I have a brand new guest on the podcast for the very first time. It's Sherman Merricks, who's the co-owner of Lasso Framework, lassoframework.com. And they specialize in marketing ads and sales training for gym owners, which is something we love talking about on this podcast. So I'm so excited to have you today, Sherman. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat with you, Mike. Obviously, we've been on with Mark on our podcast. So full circle moment. I'm excited to chat today.
Yeah. And remind me the name of your podcast so people can go check it out.
It is Gym Marketing Made Simple.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I listened to the episodes Mark did. And so I'm still subscribed. I need to keep up, but Gym Marketing Made Simple. It was fantastic. Thanks for having Fisher on. There were some great episodes. So tell us first, Sherman, just a little bit about you, a little bit about your background, how you came to be the co-owner of Lasso Framework. Let's just start there.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been in the gym industry for a long time. I was a previous gym owner, had a gym for 13 years, a CrossFit gym here in Florida. And because I currently live in Gainesville, Florida, that's why I've lived pretty much my entire adult life. And we had a gym, and just over the course of time, we basically continued to grow. We had success with our gym, and you guys will get this. Having success with the gym makes other gym owners reach out to you and say, "Hey, how can I, can you help me with stuff?"
Yep.
So basically started that way. And, I was running my own marketing and things like that for my gym. And a lot of people just kept reaching out. I was helping people. And then I met my business partner at a conference, and, we sort of talked about, what could happen. The thing that really pushed us over the edge was I asked my business partner to basically run my marketing for me, because I did it, but I did it out of necessity. I didn't love it.
Sure.
So I was like, "Hey, will you run it?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And the big thing is, Mike, he did it for free.
Wow.
And I was like, I said, "No, I think this is a business, because I know I would pay him a decent amount to run it for me."
Yep.
So that's sort of how it got started. And we were mentoring for another company. That relationship ended, and we just sort of jumped into Lasso about 5.5 years ago.
Wow.
And the rest is history. So.
Wow. That's amazing, Sherman, because it so echoes almost every story I hear from gym owners about them and their marketing, right? Which is almost no gym owner I know got into this business because they're like, I just can't wait to learn about paid digital ads and sales funnels and get good at overcoming sales objection. Like I don't know anyone who gets into it who is already in love with that, but it's such an essential part of the business. And when they can find a company like Lasso to outsource this to, it unlocks so much possibility for them. So maybe let's just start talking about that. So when do for all the gym owners listening, how do they know they're a good candidate? How do they know it's time for them to consider outsourcing some of their marketing?
Yeah. So, here's one of the big things that we deal with when people set up calls with us. We don't do the hard close and sell. Oh, your business is going to shut down if you don't sign up with us, right? Like we don't
fear
do that.
tactics.
So, Correct. So for us, if you have a solid business, your revenues, $20K or so, around that or more, of course, you have systems in place.
Mm-hmm.
And you're wanting to grow, which most gyms are, right? Like that's the thing. Like we get on some calls with gyms, they're doing, $5,000 a month, and they want to grow, and they think like, oh, well, I need marketing. Well, just at that point, yes, you can use marketing, but marketing is expensive too, right? Like I tell everyone, we're not the cheapest. So this is going to cost you, and at that revenue, it just
Hmm.
doesn't make sense. You
Yeah.
sort of you have to tie up your bootstraps and just work and figure some
Yep.
things out until you can hit a certain threshold. And for us, 15, 20K is sort of that threshold where, hey, you've done a lot by yourself, but now you need to start sort of offloading some things so you can focus on growing the gym because
Hmm.
you can't do everything. That's one of the
Yeah.
things that we see. We see gym owners, they have a successful business, but they're just doing too many things. So when they leave, if they can leave, the business sort of either stays still or it drops a little bit. And I'm
Yep.
just like, that's not a real business. You want the business
No.
to run the exact same way, whether you're in Fiji on vacation or in your house eating breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah. I so love that that was your answer, Sherman, because it's very similar to what we tell all of our listeners on this podcast and all of our Unicorn Society members at Business for Unicorns is that you really have to be kind of crushing the organic lead generation game
Correct.
before you get into the paid game, right? You have to have some systems for repeatedly generating referrals, some system for getting past members to come back, some system for getting your unconverted leads to come back at you again, right? If you have all of that underway and you have some decent revenue where you can afford paid ads, then I think you start to become a really good candidate to put some money
Correct.
and time in there because your systems can support this organic flow already. And so I agree 100%. And so let me ask you this. When you first bring on a new client to help them with their marketing, and I'm guessing mostly paid ads, how do you set expectations? Because I find that gym owners, when they start doing paid ads or any sort of external marketing, it's very easy for them to think, okay, well, now I'm paying Sherman X number of dollars per month. So these are going to be raining down from day one. And we all know that getting marketing to really get some traction takes some time. So how do you do that dance of expectation setting with people?
Oh man, that's a great question. So this is something that we learned over the 5.5 years. We started this probably a year and a half ago. So basically, what we do when someone first comes on board, first we do the sales call.
Yep.
If they want on board, then our next call, like after they say yes, I want to do this, let's get going. We say okay, get you signed up, give us some money. Our first official call is what we call a ROI and sales call, right?
Mm,
So now when we get on that ROI call, like we look at their membership prices, we look at what they're spending with us. We have an entire spreadsheet. We have like 2 or 3 spreadsheets that we go over for about 45 to 60 minutes so they can know what the realistic expectations are and what that ROI looks like if they do decent, right? We don't get on and say, well, if you do this, you're gonna, double your revenue in 3 months. No, like we give them
sure.
realistic expectations because
Yeah.
false expectations will have these people very upset,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I like that you asked that question because we had a guy to remain unnamed, but he probably reached out to us about 3 months ago, and he was like, "Oh, okay, if I'm spending X amount with you guys," he basically told us that he wants a 5x ROI month over month.
We all would love that.
Correct. I told him, I was like, "Listen, buddy, if I could do that, I promise you, every single gym in America would be signed up with us."
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But
but
he's really looking for a genie in a lamp. Yeah.
correct. But the good thing is, he was honest with us, so we were
Yeah.
honest with him, and then we just knew it wasn't a great fit. Obviously, it's not going to be a great fit for anyone except
Yes.
someone that lies to him.
Yeah,
But
of
yes,
course.
like setting those realistic expectations up front are uber important, and we do that on the first call after they sign up.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I think it's so critical because you say this is a relationship that you want to form over for many years to come, and being on the same page about the pace at which digital marketing can grow your gym is really important. And a lot of gym owners just don't have an experience with it, so they don't know what to expect. And I think it's great that you handle that so well. Let's just talk a little bit about what's working right now. Now that you're running ads for lots of gyms, what are either the ads or offers that are working, or the funnels you see succeeding? Like
Yeah.
what's cooking right now?
Yeah. So one of the things that we noticed over time is, when you're running, again, I love that you talked about the organic piece of it. Guys, the organic piece is important.
Yeah.
And even when you're running paid marketing, you should still be on top of your organic
Hmm.
because if I'm being honest, the organic leads are going to be a little bit quote unquote easier to sign up because
Yes.
they've done some research. They are probably 1 or 2 steps away from you, so they know you, they trust you, they kind of like you already.
Yep.
But when you're running paid marketing, These
Yeah.
people don't know, like, or trust you. They
They're
just may be
cold.
at face.
Yeah.
Correct. They like it's possible they're just on social media and the ad pops up. They're like, oh yeah, that looks pretty cool.
Yep.
So for us, we've seen that having an offer. When I say offer, I don't mean discount, but having an offer that isn't a. I personally, I don't like LBOs, low barrier offers. I
Mhm.
don't like short offers. And when I say short, 21 day, 7 day stuff like that. So what we've seen, what we've had success with is people coming in and understanding that they're going to stick around for at least 2 or 3 months, right? At a
Mhm.
minimum. So now that gives the gym owner and the client the opportunity to really get some work done so they can see that, okay, this is worth it. Because a lot of people, they're not used to paying the amount of money that we charge in these micro gyms, right? They're used to,
Yep.
oh, I can go to a
Yeah.
gym down the road for $35 a month.
That's
To
not
come here is
this.
going to be correct. To come here is going to be 10 times there. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
So you have to prove your value. So having people that really are coming in with the right mindset that this isn't going to be a 1 month thing, this is going to be a 2, 3, 4 month commitment up front. We've seen a lot of success with that.
Yeah. Good.
Hey there, Business of Unicorns podcast listeners. I'm just making absolutely sure you have already gotten your free, instantly downloadable copy of my new book, The Little Book of Gym Marketing Secrets. You can find a link to download it in the show notes, or you can go to gymmarketingsecretsbook.com. I worked super hard to make sure this is a less than a 30-minute read and is a comprehensive overview of all the things you need to do to grow your gym, get more leads, more clients, and importantly, change more lives. Again, find the link in the show notes where you can download your free copy at gymmarketingsecretsbook.com. And now back to the podcast.
Yeah, good for you. I think it's great. I think we've both pitched for some gyms to have low barrier offers, and
Yeah.
sometimes we think it's probably right for some people not.
Yeah.
Especially in sports performance, they often don't need it, and so
Yeah.
I think it depends. But one of the stickiest points I see when folks again just start working with someone on paid ads is they go through that process of realizing that people coming from ads are strangers. They are very cold. They
Correct.
don't know us, like us, trust
Correct.
us, and they go through this dance with their marketing agency to say, okay, I want more qualified ads, more qualified leads. The people you're sending me are unqualified. You're sending me garbage leads, and I'm not getting the ROI I want because it's your fault, and these leads are garbage. And so they go through this dance of trying to qualify leads a little bit more. And I think there's something to that. There are some obviously great tactics to better qualify leads to make sure they're the right
Correct.
fit before a sales call. But in some cases, that's just kind of the nature of the game. As you mentioned,
Correct.
you're just going to get colder people. Can you talk a little bit about when you do put in some steps to qualify leads? What are some that have worked for you?
Yes, definitely. So, to sort of jump a little bit back, like you talked
Yeah.
about, anyone listening to this right now, if any marketing company tells you they can get you all qualified leads, either they're lying
Yeah.
or they're not being totally transparent with you. And
Yeah.
here's why. If they got you all qualified leads, that means that they are going to put steps in place that is going to make your CPL, your cost per lead, through the roof, because they're going to require questions. And the questions have to be very pointed, because if you only want people that are ready to sign up, that you're just going to be able to bring them in and they're going to say, oh yeah, I already know the price.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get going.
Just take their order. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Your cost per lead could be $500 per lead.
Yep.
And the reason I knew that, because I started running a campaign like that years ago for my personal training. I just sort of had it in the background running for a while. And I would say, I would vividly say, like, can you make it to the gym 3 times a week? Can you afford $750 per month? I asked them some questions like that.
Yep.
If they answered yes, they got to the next point where they would meet me.
Yep.
But if they didn't, it was push them to, I don't think you're a great fit right now. Now it cost me $500-$600 per lead. However, they were signing up for personal training. So month 1, I was making my money back. As we know, most personal training clients aren't coming in with that short-term mindset.
Yeah.
So for us, I would say a couple things. You can ask them questions, right? You can ask them questions.
Yep.
Sort of those conditional statements on the lead forms so that you can push them the right way or not. And you could just be crystal clear, or you could be even clearer about who exactly you're looking for your program, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think
Those are
that's a
key
great
things.
advice. That's great advice, Sherman, right? Because you can totally qualify them more and more with questions and surveys and things like that, and your cost per lead will go up, right? Because you have to pay more. You're disqualifying a lot of people who maybe
Correct.
in a sales conversation you could convert. Right, who maybe
Correct.
are not the perfect fit, but they're just outside the bullseye, and you could, but you're not going to get those if you get too specific on your call. So it's a
Correct.
little bit of a dance you got to do. What's the cost per lead that you're really, what's the sweet spot or the range of the sweet spot you're looking for? So 500
Yes.
is insane unless you're selling something really super high end.
Yes. Correct.
What are most gyms looking for in terms of cost per lead?
Yes, so I would say a solid cost per lead would be $10 to $20,
Hmm.
right? For
Yep.
for us, our sort of threshold is $20, right? If it gets start getting above 20, we're starting to figure out change some creative and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But 10 to 19 is really that sweet spot. And let's be honest, in a place like New York,
Yeah.
Denver,
Highly market
Chicago,
dependent. Yeah.
correct. Like it could be a little bit higher than 20 in those places, but overall, outside of these major cities, $10 to $15, $10 to $20 is going to be a nice cost per lead,
Yeah.
which is solid. But again, like you're saying, you have to understand that. So for us, like this is what we do. So at last, so let's we expect a 10 to 20% conversion rate from lead to close. So just to keep the math simple, if we get you 100 leads that month, that means you're only going to sign up 10 to 20 people at most, and that's crushing it.
Yep.
Now, but that means even if you crush it that month, there's 80 other people that you had to contact multiple times that didn't sign up.
Yep.
So some people get stuck on, well, those 80 didn't, so I wasted all my time. Like you're saying, Michael, no, that's just part of the game.
That's the game. Yeah. And I think it goes back to the organic part that if you have a list of unconverted leads, so often people call this like your nurture list. These are people you're going to go back to again and again. We recommend people go back twice a quarter and make an offer to those people who didn't convert then, who might convert later. I remember, Business of Unicorns and at Mark Fisher Fitness, we've had people join us and become lifetime clients who told us during their sales conversation, I've been following you for years. I've been on your
Correct.
email list for 7 years. I've been listening to your podcast for 4 years, right? Like, and it was just the timing wasn't right when we first made contact, but they stayed with us. We continued to nurture them, get them to like us, trust us, stay in our universe, and they did convert at some point. So you never know those 80 people, hypothetical 80 people, they might come around at some point. It's definitely not a waste of time. And maybe they had a great experience with you and they'll tell other people about you. So I think there's other, trickle down positive effects there, even if they didn't convert. Yeah.
Correct. No, I love that you say that because again, we're all, a lot of times people just look at the immediate
Mm-hmm.
sign up. Like we're saying, okay, we expect the 10 to 20% conversion rate. So we sign up 10 people that month. Well, those 90, okay, now that's an extra 90 leads that you
Yeah.
have. And if you do that for a year, now you got an extra 10,000 leads that
Mm-hmm.
are go oh, my math is off. You have all those extra leads that's basically going to help you
Mm-hmm.
grow your business. Because like you're saying, just because someone doesn't sign up now,
Yep.
it may be a year later and they may
Yeah.
say, man, you know what? I've been following those guys at Mark Fisher Fitness and now's the time. Like I've been putting it off long enough,
Yeah.
but they've been following you and keeping up and seeing emails for the
Yes.
last year.
Yes. Yep.
So
100%. We rarely get a unicorn sighting member at Business of Unicorns who, as a gym owner who hasn't been listening to our podcast for at least a year before they contact us, right? They just, that's the reason we have those things. It's the reason why we have an email list and a newsletter and a podcast and an active social media platform. And so people in the middle of our funnel there who didn't convert at first can stay in there and stay, we can keep them warm for a long time. And so I love that. I love that you brought that up. All right. I think we have time for maybe one more questions. Let me ask this. Another place where I see gym owners get bogged down when it comes to paid digital marketing and tracking all their marketing efforts is just tracking all the right metrics. I see them develop these giant, overly complicated spreadsheets. And frankly, we've been guilty of this as well. And Mark probably might have talked about on the podcast. We like to see data. We want to make data-driven decisions. And certainly when people contract out, work you doing their marketing for you, you're going to come with your own tools and metrics.
correct.
But for all of our listeners who maybe, don't work with an agency yet, or maybe can't afford it, what are the most important metrics for them to be tracking day after day, week after week, month after month?
Yes. So, I would say you definitely want to track your cost per lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's uber important. Also, you want to track the revenue that
Mm-hmm.
comes from those leads,
Yep.
right? Because again, what happens at times is, let's just say that someone is running marketing for 3 months, and over the 3 months, obviously they lose members, they gain members. But if you can keep up with, okay, I gained an extra $2,800 each month, and now those every single one of those members over the last 3 months, they're still in the gym because they committed to 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
But my revenue at the gym has sort of stayed sort of flat because I've lost people. Your attrition rate isn't great.
Yep.
Now, without these people that have come from this paid marketing, your revenue would actually be down, right? So like some of these numbers you have to keep up with. And again, if I'm being honest, from what I've seen over the years of being a gym owner and working with gym owners, most people just don't have the systems in place. That's why, like for us at Lasso, we have like software that we keep up with these numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, we try not to bog them down with a ton of numbers.
Yeah.
We try to keep the main thing the main thing. And what I mean by that, Michael, is we look at previous 3 to 6 months of the gym's revenue before they get going with us. We'll look at how many leads they got. So we say, okay, this is sort of your baseline, what you were doing before us. Now you work with us for 6 months. We're going to compare these numbers. We're not going to get into, oh, well, this lead came from here, this lead came from, no. This is your average 6 months prior to working with us. This is your average 6 months after working with us. The only thing you've changed is your marketing. So we're going to attribute this to marketing because, again, there's some people, man, they get bogged down in the numbers and it just distracts them totally from the important thing.
Yeah, I love that you say that, Sherman, because I think it's so easy. This is already overwhelming for a lot of gym owners, as we talked about at the beginning of this podcast. They don't love doing the marketing piece. They don't love doing the sales piece. Many of them, not all. And so when they start to overcomplicate it by tracking all these leads from multiple sources, all these leads from different conversion metrics, all these leads from different offers, and they just make it so complicated that it's going to make them even less want to do it.
Yep.
And so I think when you can keep it really simple and just say, okay, well, how many leads are you getting? What's your cost per lead? Maybe a few conversion percentages from conversion from a sales call or conversion from an LBO, right, if you have it, right? And your revenue and attrition, those 4 or 5 numbers might be all you need to really understand how your marketing is growing or impacting your business. I think the more people can keep it simple, like you suggested, the more likely they're going to be able to make good decisions, not get overwhelmed, and keep putting one foot in front of the other and getting more people in the gym. So
Correct.
I think that it's a good place to start. Yeah.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know I got to start to wrap things up. Anything else? Let me ask you maybe this final question for our audience, for all of our audience out there yet who have really not dabbled in paid marketing at this point. What's your advice to them?
I would tell them, reach out to 1 or 2 companies, right?
Yeah.
Check out their testimonials. And when you talk to them, ask them every question that you really want to know because it is the gym industry in general. We've gotten sort of a bad taste in our mouths about marketing because we sort of think like, well, I do this bait and switch or this scorched earth method. It's going to burn my members out. It's going to have too many people in. They're going to leave. So make sure that the marketing feels good.
Yeah.
When you do it, make sure that it's something that you can get behind, because if you work with a company, you have to run their play time out of time because that's just what we know. I would say, don't do that, right? You should have a little say-so in what's going on because, again, it is your business. They have had success probably with other gyms, but you want this to be the right thing for you to grow your business.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Sherman. It's got to feel right to you. It's got to feel like the right representation of your business. And you can find that agency that works for you. And listen, maybe it's Lasso Framework, friends. Their link is going to be down below in the show notes. It's lassoframework.com. Go follow Sherman. Sherman, where else can they follow you?
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Yep.
There's not a lot of Sherman Merricks out there. So
I love it. We'll put all those in the show notes down below. We'll also put your podcast, Gym Marketing Made Simple, so we can go find you there. But thank you for a great conversation. This was fantastic. It's great to see someone approaching this topic in this industry with such integrity and such heart. I hope we need more Sherman Merricks in the world, but not too many. that they tread on your territory, you know. But yeah, thank you for this so much, and I hope to have you back on the podcast again someday, my friend.
All right. Thanks, buddy. It's been great.